Chad Dagley. Dave Nolan.
Markin present if he shows up. If not,
George Robin.
Present.
Greg Lammert.
Present.
Scott Peterson.
Present.
James Myers.
Present.
Wendy Propkop.
Present.
Kevin Watlett.
present.
Pam Hobbs.
Excused.
Mary Lallo.
Excused.
William Fath.
Present.
Councilman Wexler.
Present.
All right, can we get the Pledge of Allegiance? Bill, you want to lead us?
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everybody, we got an agenda in front of us for tonight. Anybody see anything that needs moved around? Can I get a motion for approval?
Approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then we have to approve the minutes from the October 15th meeting of this committee. I didn't see anything in there that needs modified. Can I get a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, move on to citizen comments. Do we have any citizens to come up and comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to old business. We have no old business. New business. We're going to get a path projects update. Chris coming up.
Everybody see? Wait for that to come up on the screen. Thank you for having me. Chris Clerks, Capital Improvements Manager here for the City of O'Fallon. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update on some of the path projects and greenway updates that we've been working on over the past year. I figured this is a good meeting to do that. And I know we've talked about a lot of this in the past, so some of it might be kind of a refresher for you, but we do have some newer information on some of it too. So just going to kind of move right into that. Wrong way. So as far as some of the current CIP projects, there's a whole list of them here, and I'll probably go through these for the most part. The Lake St. Louis Boulevard extensions plan to have a 10-foot shared use path on it. That is currently in design at this time, going into construction in later years. Weldon Springs improvement, Weldon Springs road improvements, that actually has been completed this year. That would be down there at Weldon Springs and Crusher Drive where the new roundabout went in, and the new art that's in the middle of that roundabout. But we did have a 10-foot shared use path installed along the new roadway we built along Weldon Spring, and then that connects down into that first subdivision to the left, which I think is Valley Brook Drive, so that we have a good connectivity there. Hope to, in future years, get additional projects to keep going with that path system in that area. Main Street Phase 1 was completed very early this year, but we did have the section of path installed through Phase 1, which is from Pittman to the railroad tracks. It's got kind of a decorative band, so that makes it 10 foot wide, but the walking surface, the true walking surface is about 8 foot through that area. And that turned out really nice. I think that really freshened up some things there in Main Street. And we're looking forward to Main Street Phase 2, getting some improvements coming here in 2026 with construction starting. We are coordinating with the QT that you've probably all seen if you've come up through that way, getting built on the corner of Pittman and Main Street. We have been coordinating with them. We'll have that same look as what we did from Pittman to the tracks. Going south for the most part to 70 and getting that connectivity built out a little bit. And then we'll take off next year also with Main Street Phase 3, railroad tracks to St. Joe. That'll have that similar look as what Main Street Phase 1 did also. So just wanted to kind of, looking forward to getting those going and getting that corridor through Main Street up to St. Joe taken care of. The Deer Road reconstruction, it's mostly focused on Phase 1, but both Phase 1 and Phase 2 will get a 10-foot shared use path, basically from the location around Highway DD all the way over to Hopewell Road. We've got the Hopewell Road, or we've got the Deer Road extension through Harvest already taken care of with a 10-foot shared use path, which is not shown here, but all of the Deer Road reconstruction projects, Phase 1 and 2 will connect into that Deer Road and Hopewell intersection improvements once those get done. The county's taking care of the Hopewell improvements, but that does include some path connectivity up to Highway N also. I don't have much to show on that, but just wanted to bring it up that the Deer Road area will have some nice improvements once we get done. Actually, I should have changed that. I just realized that our construction is actually being pushed out till 27, I think, on the Deer Road Phase 1 because Hopewell is going to go under construction with the county project next year. So yeah, just wanted to get that in front of you. Eggering Drive reconstruction, we do have sidewalk improvements that will be done basically from the 90 all the way to Westhoff Park's entrance, and that'll have some improvements through that. We're going to get into construction with that next year. We just closed up right-of-way, just finishing up right-of-way right now. The Darton Greenway connector is in construction. That's the one that's down off of Highway I-64, and the technology bridge that was taken down that we're rebuilding with MoDOT. I'll get a little bit more into detail with that one. I've got some slides associated to that one to show you. Sports Park Darton Greenway, that's in design right now, and we're moving into right-of-way. The construction is planned for next year. That's really come along with our design. We've got a few slides that I'll show you some more on that, so I don't need to talk too much on it now. Another project that we got some federal funds for now would be Mexico Road we call it Phase 1, which is from Knaust to Barrington Drive, I believe. That would be a resurfacing, but it's also going to include improvements to the path that's along Mexico Road in that area. It needs to be brought into a little bit better into compliance. And we've actually got that in coordination with a couple of subdivisions that are going in there. So we should have a real nice connectivity once we get done with that and those developments actually come through. Highway N, we just started design on that here in this last month. That is the 10-foot shared use path that we planned on doing along our section of Highway N that we now currently maintain. That would be in the frontage of our subdivision down there from the Spring Orchard roadway to Meadow Lake, which is actually connecting into like the Cottleville city limits over there. We are coordinating with Cottleville. There's some discussions with trying to widen it out a little bit in certain areas to accommodate what Cottleville is trying to accomplish with their path connectivity. But we'll have some more information on that probably later on this year once we get through design, understand what we can actually do, and then see if we can keep getting some money for that through the federal funding. We've already got county funding dedicated to help us with the design on that. So Bryan Road at Pavement and Preservation, that is actually a federal funded and county road board funded also. That includes slab replacements, but we're also going to improve the section of current existing path sections that are out there from White Magnolia to about Norwood Hills. So it's a pretty long stretch that will be put into 10-foot, and we got an 8-foot section in there that I've got some more slides on that. We'll get more into detail here in a few minutes. West Terra Bryan Road is in design, construction plan for 2028. That's that big intersection project that we've got to realign West Terra on the south or on the north side of Bryan Road. That does have some pedestrian and bike improvements through that, so there is connectivity. So that's coming here. And then our asphalt and concrete program, as I think I've mentioned before in some of my other presentations, we always try to do some curb ramp improvements whenever we're touching the roadways that are adjacent to curb ramps that are non-compliant. And we ended up in asphalt. The asphalt program, we were able to repair 23 curb ramps and fix trip hazards. We touched 2 different areas as part of the asphalt program. I'll get to that on the other. I have some more slides on that one too. And then for the concrete program, we installed approximately 20 new ramps, and we're able to repair about 138 new sidewalk panels in Ward 1 while we were in there doing our concrete program. Is there any questions on this specific slide right now? Yes, sir.
I had a question about the Highway N connection to Cottleville.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that Cottleville's trying to do something different. What are they doing in contrast? Or
So Cottleville, as most people know, is very user-friendly for golf carts and those ways of transportation. The city of O'Fallon, when we did the application, it was for a 10-foot. But with conversations of county and Cottleville, when we were coordinating with them, it was asked if we could look at to see if we could widen that out to accommodate right at the Cottleville city limits there, accommodate a wider pass section possibly to accommodate more of the golf carts that they have going in and out of their area. So
So how wide is it when it's for golf carts? Is it 12 or 14 or?
there's not really a true dedicated width to that at a standard, but they're asking about 14. The city of O'Fallon generally will not build a 14. So that's what we're looking at. We don't know if that'll actually happen because we got to make sure that the right-of-way limits will allow if we even move forward.
So is the purpose so there isn't a sudden cutoff or dramatic change in width at the city limits? Or?
It would be a transition. Yeah, we would transition it to reduce it down if we don't do a 14 through the whole thing, which I don't think we plan on doing.
And is there an endpoint to the section O'Fallon would widen on behalf of Cottleville, or are you trying to get to a certain subdivision, or what's the endpoint of the proposed widened section?
So that would be from, Cottleville's got their city limits and our city limits meet. And then there's a strip of Highway N that's still owned and maintained by Cottleville/MoDOT. And we're looking at through that area, trying to widen it, and then probably transitioning down to when we hit where we actually maintain, transitioning back to a 10 for our purposes.
Okay. Okay. I kind of assumed it was golf carts. I just want to make sure there wasn't
Yep.
some other consideration.
Yep.
Oliver, you want to?
I'm going to give that train just a second. All right. Cottleville has done that 14-foot wide path down Guttermouth. It looks like a whole entire another lane down the side of the road. I mean, it's huge. It's massive.
Yeah.
When they were originally pouring it, I was driving down Guttermouth and I went, what in the world is going on over there? And then I realized it's for those golf carts. It's crazy. It's massive. So just maybe something to drive through and look at, just so you can kind of compare what that 10-foot path. I mean, you go 4 feet. It's not that much, but man, when you see it, it's like, dang, you could stripe that thing and drive cars down it. I mean, it's pretty wild. So I just wanted to toss that out there. I saw it, and so I'd assume that's probably what they're trying to get us to match. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess my only question on that is current ordinances for the city. Golf cart can't be on the sidewalk, but is this a path in a different category when it comes to ordinances?
So from my understanding of our ordinance is anything that's over 6 foot, a golf cart could use if it's not signed forbidding it. So you'd have to say no motorized vehicles, no golf carts, something like that, so we do allow it, but there's some restriction to it. And we do have some path through the city, like up and down Highway K, where we put some path sections. We put signage that said no motorized vehicles. I would assume that would be enforceable if they were able to enforce it. It's a tough thing to enforce for the police department, but I think our ordinance does allow it to be on anything that's larger than a 6 foot.
Is there more slides for that specific one in your deck?
It's just a high level. I can show you, it'll show the limits that he was asking about, but that's about it. And we can talk a little bit
We
more.
might bring this back up when we get there. Okay.
Yep.
Any other things right now?
Oops.
Right.
Went too fast. So yeah, this is just a high level exhibit showing kind of our limits for the Mexico Road Phase 1 project that I had referenced from Knaust Bellow Creek intersection to the west, right around the Barrington area. You can see at the top right of that page. And what we're looking at doing is not only on the south side or the left side of the red line with the 10-foot shared use path where we have those 2 open fields are the subdivisions that I was talking about that we're working with, to where they'll be installing some of the improvements, and then we'll try to fill in some gaps with our project once we get to know exactly what's going to happen with that. The right side of the red line, or the north side, we want to get a sidewalk installed along that whole corridor too, because right now there is no existing facility, and there has been some sidewalk requests in that area. There's a lot of houses and people that may want to use that to get to places. So we feel that, like I said, we've got some federal and county funds on this, and we're going to improve that area on both sides of that corridor. So really excited about that one. This is the Bryan Road pavement preservation where I was talking about we will replace the existing with a 10-foot path, and there are some areas in blue that would be restricted to 8 because of just the proximity and the right-of-way that we already have, and some issues down at the intersection at Mexico where that Walgreens or CVS, whatever that is, with existing retaining walls and all that. So you're allowed to go down to 8 foot on a shared use path and still call it that if you have a confined or a restricted area, and that would be one of those areas that shown in blue, and then the rest of it would be widened out to a 10 foot, so you can see it runs from White Magnolia and ends at Norwood Hills Drive. So pretty excited about that, and that's just on the one side we'll be working on and getting pedestrian improvements through Mexico a little bit better. So this is the highway end limits that I wanted to show you. You can see on the right side that Meadow Lake Drive or whatever, and that one box on the right, bottom right there. That's Cottleville's last subdivision, and then that's basically where the line is, where our two cities come together. But they still own up to up to Wheatfield, I think, that they maintain, and so we'd be responsible for the stuff in between Wheatfield and Springhurst. And then we're looking at how that's going to turn out in between their limits from Meadow Lake to Wheatfield. Any questions on that?
When is that supposed to take place?
So we're in design right now, and we'll be trying to get more funding for the right-of-way and the construction phases. So it's probably 2-3 years out before we build it, but we're at least in design. We were able to get the county road board funding for the design to start to kick that off, so we can get some hopefully preliminary design to go into our funding applications this year and try to get some federal funding to help with that project too.
Okay.
And then Cottleville, talking with them, we'll be working with them on any funding that they would have to provide for whatever comes out of those conversations.
Okay. We're looking for future topics. I'm thinking this might be one we want to maybe spend some better time looking at. If as long as it's farther out down the road. Scott?
Yeah, hi, Chris.
Hi.
So on Highway N, going, I guess, west from, I guess, the end of this photo towards Highway K, what is the plan for that piece?
We would look to extend this as this would be kind of a phase 1, and then we would look to try to extend that up to Highway K as part of a phase 2, but we just don't have any movement on that yet. We have submitted for that phase in the past, but we were not awarded funding at the time from either county or federal, so we kind of rethought it and engaged the conversations a little bit differently, ended up getting county funding to start the design on this phase, which has direct impact to the residents right there for our Fallon residents. And I know that that's where some of the requests have come from, and we ended up getting the funding. We're able to start moving forward. So subsequent funding years is when we would try to get going all the way up to Highway K.
And that would have to be in coordination with MoDOT, I guess?
Not anymore, because we own that section of Highway N. We own and maintain it. It was taken over, we took it over as part of the I-70 Phase 2 Woodlawn improvements that we just did a couple years ago, got them finished up. It was all part of the terms and conditions of that project. So.
Gotcha, thank you.
Does the pathway through Sports Park and whatnot that's ongoing, getting done under K, does it come down to this at some point in the future in anybody's head, or is that a completely different pathway to Cottleville?
That would, I guess in theory, it could eventually tie together if we can get the connection through the Cottleville parcels that are east of Highway K back up to N, then this would be connected to that loop, yes.
Okay, that's
As an overall grand plan, yes.
In my head right now, that's the differentiator between we just made a sidewalk that a golf cart can go down, and it's part of a pathway system that makes sense to get further into us, not for the convenience of a subdivision or two to drive a golf cart down a path to get to Cottleville and go to Frankie Martin's. So
I think in previous presentations, I don't know if it was Chris or somebody else that did mention where it's going to go under K, where that new county park's going to be at the Lake by Lou Fuse, that the thought process is to have the connectivity over to Cottleville somewhere, whether it's here along N or into that new big Cottleville subdivision.
Cottleville's got this done up until this photo. Is that correct along N?
Yeah.
No, there's,
Yeah,
your
they
14-foot
do.
sidewalk, it's on N too.
Well, it's the old highway end.
Yeah, that's the thing is they have path
Well, part-
connectivity all the way up to Meadow Lake Drive or whatever that is there, but it's only like an 8,
Okay.
I think. So, yeah, they understand that what they're asking for actually isn't even what they have out there yet.
Okay.
I don't know if they'd ever do that along a highway, all of Highway N in their area or not, but yeah, they do have path connectivity up to Meadow Lake Drive, which we tie into, which is why we wanted to go all the way to that point.
I think we're gonna note this down as a future topic. Okay.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good conversations with Cottleville. Honestly, they've got some. They have new people that have come in over the last year and a half. We've had a lot of good engagement with them, good conversations. They got a lot of momentum, things like that. I know that they've talked about, the development that's happening there, and they're trying to keep control of that and all that too. So, yeah, they've got a lot of momentum right now. So there's a lot of positive things that could come out of it if we do it all right. So we definitely want to keep that coordination going with them for sure. So I just wanted to bring up some of the current development projects, and that you can read the top, but in the bullet points down below, the 2 projects that I'm talking about that would marry up to our Mexico Road is that Strawberry Farm subdivision, and then Stonebridge Ifric track are the 2 that would marry up with our Mexico Road project. The Post Farm subdivision, we've got a contribution for a future construction of a 10-foot shared use path along Highway N. Once that Highway N corridor gets going, County and MoDOT are still working on that. But Post Farms, we have that Post Farms out there that we do have future connectivity plans for. Ellis Place looks like we put in a 5-foot sidewalk along MG. Goodwill, Dutch Brothers Sports Complex, and all those commercials down there at the bottom. We're trying to infill as best we can, and if something gets redeveloped or something, we try to get the path put where it makes sense along the frontages as much as we can, especially along K, because we know that that's such an animal in itself. So we just wanted to bring that up and just kind of show you some of the development side that's a little bit different than our capital side, but our development review and all the people that work in the engineering department on the development side are always watching out for these areas to where we can at least request and try to ask and get as much as we can from the developer so they pay for the infrastructure. And then obviously it's ours to maintain most of the time, but at the same time, at least we don't